This video is about Stonky 0.6 alpha release. As with previous releases, it adds new features, but before that, I'd like to talk about one feature that has been removed. As with previous releases, it has still in the total sheet yearly and monthly totals, which I find very handy, but it no longer has daily totals. Primarily because these could run on for hundreds and hundreds of rows, which made them not very useful. And secondly, because implementing them involved complicated programming to work around a bug in Google Sheets itself. And with the lack of usefulness and the complication of the programming, I decided it just wasn't worth the effort, and so we've removed it. And with that said, now we can talk about the newly added features. The first one is an exciting performance boost. It's now 40 to 50% faster than the previous release. I spent a lot of time this week on finding all the bits that were slow and doing some creative programming to speed them up. So hopefully you'll have a pleasant performance boost. And beyond that, columns have now received hopefully more useful names than previous releases, more descriptive names. So for example, capital loaned instead of amount loaned, and payments received, and loan capital balance. You'll see many of these future payments. And if you're not quite sure what they mean, you can hover over many of them, and there's a nice tooltip that you can expand here. And in many cases, it tells you not just what it is, but how it's calculated. So we see that the loan capital balance is actually calculated from the sum of capital loaned minus the sum of capital received. Yes? And what are those? Well, capital loaned, capital received is here as part of payments received. Yes? And many columns now also have sums or running totals. I think these are very useful, as well as being able to see monthly figures. We can see the cumulative figures over time. Yes? And this is also reflected in the dashboard, so that now, for example, as well as seeing the amount loaned and received by month, we can see it cumulatively, the sum over time, seeing how these figures build up. Same with deposited and withdrawn amounts. We also see the cumulative figures for these, so we can see not just monthly activity, but cumulative activity. Now, you may also notice here, we have a whole extra column of future payments. So no longer do we just have historic payments, but we also have the payments predicted for the future. So here are received payments compared to future payments. We see that our future payments should be much greater, fingers crossed. And for future payments, we see what percentage of that will be capital and what percentage of it will be interest. And it's across the various risk categories. There are some other things here as well. So we now can see also not just loans by amount, but loans by count. And this reveals, for example, even though we are afraid of defaulted loans, in this case, the vast majority of loans are very healthy, 1,965, and defaulted is only 19, a tiny fraction, tiny fraction, not to be worried about. So that's it. This is Alpha Release 0.6, added a few new features, took one feature away, but mostly focused on performance improvement. Thank you very much.